Well, today marks 20 years since the world watched in horror as a devastating tsunami ravaged 14 countries, taking 227,000 lives, bringing a disaster zone to 14 different countries.
Now, 2 decades after he helped clear up the destruction, founder of Hands Across the Water, Peter Baines has just finished a 1,400-kilometre run across Thailand in memory of the event that changed the world. And Peter joins us live in Khao Sok now, Thailand. Good morning to you, Peter.
Good morning, David. It's great to be with you. And just about finished. I've got 26 Ks to go today. That'll wrap it all up.
Oh, you're so close now. You're so close. Well, when you think back to that day 20 years ago, is it still incredibly fresh in your mind, the memories of that time?
Yeah, absolutely. It was obviously unprecedented what we encountered over here. There was 5,500 bodies recovered in Thailand, and flying into the region and visiting the temple at Wat Yen Yao, where there was 3,500 bodies. No one had ever seen that before, and it was where we'll finish today. We'll visit that very temple today, and you know, it's certainly the images and the memories remain very vivid, even though it is almost 20 years on.
Peter, I was working here at Sunrise behind the scenes as those first images came through, and I'll never forget that morning because the magnitude of the tsunami sort of developed as the hours went by, and we thought, okay, well, it was really the first time we heard of something like a tsunami, and then we could see the devastation across so many countries. What for you about the resilience of the people of Thailand has kept you dedicated to this cause for the last 2 decades, Peter?
Yeah, good question, Edwina. I think it was, the commitment I made at the beginning was because there was an opportunity to do something for a group of children who had all lost their families. And the commitment I made was on the basis I couldn't change what had happened for these kids, but it felt as though I could change what happened next. And originally it was just to build a home for those first 32 kids that I'd met living in a tent while I was working over here. And then as the years passed, the opportunity to contribute to a bigger community and impact the lives of children and communities who weren't affected by the tsunami that existed. And it just became something that I couldn't step away from. And here we are almost 20 years on, and we've had a pretty big impact. We've raised over $35 million. We put 40 kids through university. The funds from this run that I'm doing will go on and build an agricultural learning centre, a hospitality training centre. And both of those are the biggest sectors of employment here in Thailand. And we know that if we can increase the employment opportunities and education opportunities, then we're creating sustainability and reducing the need for direct funding. And that's certainly what this run is all about.
Pete, you've run the equivalent of 33 marathons as well. I just want to know how the body's holding up.
Yeah, it's surprisingly good. You know, I've had any runners will understand what I'm talking about when I say I've got shin splints in my left leg, and I've had that since day 15. Oh. That's pretty painful, but I've got some blisters covering the feet. But other than that, it's I've been really fortunate that I've got through all but 1,400 kilometres with in a pretty fit state, fresh state. And there were certainly some difficult days up coming through Bangkok. It was just so hot, and we've had the humidity down here in the south, but with 26 Ks to go, I'm confident we'll make it.
I love that you just paused before you take on the next 26 Ks. Peter, thank you for joining us this morning, and thank you for all of the work that you have done over the last 20 years. Of course, we all remember that day, but we also remember the outpouring of generosity from Australians to our neighbours in Southeast Asia that followed as well. So thank you for that. More in a moment. Stay with us on Sunrise.